It's time for another set of over-the-air updates in Marvel Snaps. Today's changes are bringing with us 3 nerfs and 2 different buffs, with Second Dinner noting that most of these adjustments are set up to maneuver a few game pieces into the right places for other upcoming content. Let's go ahead and dive on into the details, shall we? Our first nerf this week is one that I personally am very excited for. Galactus is being reduced from a 6-7 down to a 6-5. Second Dinner notes that they expected Alioth to slot into the Galactus archetypes, and when they reworked Galactus in a previous patch, they explicitly left themselves a knob of his power to be able to adjust up or down depending on what his play rate and performance look like. Second Dinner acknowledges that with the addition of Alioth, Galactus has been performing above their preferred tolerance threshold for this type of polarizing card, so they are chopping a couple of points of power off the top to make him a little bit less good at blowing up 2/3 of the board. Our second nerf this week is one that makes me personally kind of sad because it's one of my favorite cards in the game. Kitty Pryde is being changed from a 1-2 down to a base 1-0 with still the same text box: when this returns to your hand, +1 power, returns at the start of each turn. Second Dinner notes that Kitty Pryde has been a part of the top performing deck in the metagame at least 4 different times, and each one of those 4 times she was a part of the top deck that she was a part of was distinct from the other 4. She's just an incredibly flexible card that combos with a ton of different stuff: Angela, Forge, Hulkbuster, Collector, Shuri, etc. And they want to make changes to Kitty to power her down a little bit to give other cards room to breathe in all of these various strategies. And they note that looking ahead to the future, Kitty looks powerful with other upcoming content, which I wager is related to Elsa Bloodstone, who, under the right board state, is going to be able to give Kitty +3 every single turn, starting as early as the 3rd turn of the game. So with that in mind, I think toning Kitty down in advance makes sense. Second Dinner also notes during this change of Kitty that they will likely continue to explore different executions of Kitty in a future patch, which kind of hints at perhaps they're going to give her a redesign of sorts in the future, which honestly might be for the best. I like the character and what she does now, but she just does a lot for a little, and simply continuing to take away her numbers probably isn't an ideal long-term solution. The last nerf in this week's Over There updates is adjustments to Snowguard's Hawk and Bear auras. The Hawk is changing to a 3-3, while the Bear is changing to a 3-4. Second Dinner notes that they're happy overall with the redesign to Snowguard, taking her from arguably one of the worst cards in the game to one of the stronger 1-drops you can play. They also note that a lot of her strength so far looks to be coming from Collector and Loki synergies, cards that like having lots of cards or things being generated. They are changing the stats on the Bear specifically to be better than the Hawk, acknowledging the fact that the on reveal of the Bear is definitely the weaker of the two, and I agree with that. They finally close out the section on Snowguard by noting that this is the first of a larger series of adjustments that will be going live in the patch next week to kind of shift the cost and power around of cards that generate things in your hand to give you a little bit more diverse selection of things at that bottom end of your curve in decks that are looking to generate new cards. In addition to 3 nerfs in this Over There update, we also have 2 buffs of a single point of power. The first of these is Psylocke going from a 2-1 to a 2-2. Second Dinner notes that they've been playtesting with this one for a little while, but they wanted to see how things shook out in the live environment with other accelerants in the metagame. Specifically, Psylocke has been seeing less play than things like Electro, Magic, and Wave. Other cards let you play additional big cards out over the course of the game, and they're hoping that by giving an extra point of power to Psylocke, she could be included with that mix to diversify what that slot is in various decks in the format. Our second buff and final card adjustment for the week is Squirrel Girl going from a 1-1 to a 1-2. They note that similar to Shauna, Squirrel Girl just doesn't provide quite enough stats on the board in proportion to the number of slots that she takes up. Squirrel Girl sees play in early collection level Khazar Swarm decks, but really falls off later as players gain wider collections. They're hoping that the stat boost could maybe make her relevant, but I don't know that it's really going to move the needle on her at all. Perhaps the fact that Elsa Bloodstone is coming up next month, Squirrel Girl helping fill up the board, could be useful in that respect, but Killmonger is always lurking just around the corner, meaning that these decks focused on playing one energy cards to the board often have a ceiling on how good they can ever be in a Marvel Snap metagame. Overall, nothing too earth-shattering or surprising in the over-there updates this week, but as Second Dinner implied, this is an OTA that's going to be quickly followed by a patch on Tuesday, October the 3rd, as well as a season rollover, bringing with it Elsa Bloodstone, our new season pass card. I would love to know your thoughts on these changes and what you're hoping we see in this upcoming patch on Tuesday. As always, if you enjoyed my musing on the topic, snap that like button, and hopefully we'll see you back again real soon for some more Snap content here on YouTube.